Welcome back to Killer Stories. I'm your host, Bobby Holmes. This is the last episode of Season 9. I'll be taking a few weeks off before returning with Season 10, except for maybe a Halloween special thrown in there. But honestly, this break between seasons is much needed for me. I recently started a new job that has kept me super busy the past few weeks. And that is why this is a late release. I apologize. I'm looking forward to the downtime. Today's case was suggested by Charles Smith. Charles sent an email requesting me to cover Amber Hagerman. We've all felt our hearts drop when your phone, radio, or television puts out an Amber Alert. A child in your area has been abducted. They give a description of the child, what they were last seen wearing, a description of the abductor and their vehicle, as well as which direction they are thought to be traveling. This alert allows the general public to assist with the safe recovery of the child. It has helped save hundreds of lives over the years. AMBER is an acronym that stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. But it was also inspired by a 9-year-old girl named Amber Hagerman, who was abducted and murdered in 1996. Sadly, 26 years later, her case is still cold. A large portion of the information used in writing today's episode came from the documentary After Amber, created by WFAA, a news station in Dallas, Texas. I was able to find it on YouTube and will link it in the show notes, but I'll warn you, it's incredibly heartbreaking to see Amber's family grieving for this special little girl. In the mid-90s, Donna, Amber's mother, left her husband to escape an unhealthy relationship. But the problem was, Donna dropped out of school in the 7th grade and struggled to find a job that paid enough to support her and her children. Amber was the eldest child. She had a younger brother named Ricky. Amber and Ricky temporarily moved with Donna into a women's shelter. And I gotta give Donna a shout out here because she wanted something better for her children. She knew it would be tough, but it wasn't fair to keep them in that unhealthy environment. She was determined to provide for her family as a single mother. She got her GED, volunteered at the local welfare office, and attended job training classes in Fort Worth, Texas. She expressed the importance of education to her children. Amber was an honor roll student and extremely proud of her achievements, putting her certificates and awards into a scrapbook. Amber's 9th birthday was approaching, and Donna put items on Walmart layaway, making small payments for months to ensure her daughter had something to open at her birthday party. Her employer at the welfare office saw how hard Donna worked, and the WFAA news station did a piece on her and her family in November of 1995. By this time, she had her own apartment. They were there to capture the pure joy on Amber's face when she opened her mother's gift to see a new set of Pocahontas sheets for her bed and accessories for her dolls. The newscasters at WFAA got to know sweet little Amber firsthand, which is why it was so devastating to later report on her abduction in January 1996. Christmas morning, 1995, Amber and Ricky ran down the stairs to see that they both received new bikes. They were beyond excited and spent all their free time riding outside, especially at their grandparents' house in Arlington, Texas. The kids were supposed to stay close, no more than a block away, but just 2 blocks down the road, there was an abandoned Winn-Dixie, which is a grocery store, a wide open parking lot, and the perfect spot to ride a bike. Amber and Ricky rode down to the parking lot, but Ricky quickly turned back, telling Amber it was farther than their mother allowed them to go. But she didn't see the harm. It was only 2 blocks away, and you could basically see her grandparents' house. Their grandfather noticed Ricky came home alone. He was told to pedal back and get his sister. But Ricky returned again to say Amber was gone. Her grandfather jumped in his car and drove to the Winn-Dixie parking lot. There was no Amber, only her pink bike. Donna was in disbelief and screamed Amber's name, hoping she would come running back, but she was gone. An elderly man named Jim Kevill witnessed Amber being abducted from the Winn-Dixie parking lot. He was sitting in a lawn chair in his backyard when he saw a man with dark hair in his 20s or 30s force Amber into his black truck. Jim heard Amber screaming and knew something was wrong. He ran inside to call 911. He wasn't sure of the truck's model, but saw that the man drove west towards the center of Arlington. Even with this information immediately given to police, they were not able to track down Amber's abductor. Donna spoke to the media, begging whoever took Amber to bring her home safely. Her story made front-page news across the state of Texas. People were outraged that this could happen to our children, taken in broad daylight, with witnesses, and still have no leads. That wasn't without effort, though. There were flyers posted on every telephone pole and headline news every morning, noon, and night. 4 days after her abduction, Amber's naked body was found near a creek behind an apartment complex. Mostly naked body. She had a sock on her left foot. This was less than 5 miles from where she was abducted days earlier. She wasn't in good shape. There were multiple lacerations to her neck. Donna was devastated to hear of her daughter's death. She couldn't believe it and asked to see Amber. The police thought it would be best if she had her autopsy and was cleaned up first. They didn't want Donna to see her daughter like that. Police believed that Amber's abductor was a local. Sergeant Grant Gilden said, based on the direction of travel when they left the Winn-Dixie, and then based on her being found in Arlington, being abducted in Arlington, the question has always been, did somebody have a connection with that area where the abduction was? It's a very secluded area where her body was found. We do believe you'd have to be somewhat familiar with that area to know where that creek is. Was there a connection with that location? And was it someone who had a reason for turning back to the center of town? The thought has always been that the easiest way to get out of the area would have been to go to Highway 360, unquote. The autopsy revealed that Amber was kept alive for at least 2 days after her abduction. It took Donna 2 weeks to gather the strength to leave her parents' house and go back to her apartment. It was extremely difficult to be there amongst Amber's things. Her backpack was lying by the front door where she left it after school on Friday. The coffee table held a puzzle that she was trying to solve. And Amber's bedroom, filled with all of her toys. But her bed was bare. Investigators took her new Pocahontas sheets in for DNA testing. Ricky would ask over and over when Amber was coming home, and Donna would have to explain that she wasn't. Amber was in heaven now. It was becoming too much for Donna to bear. She had many interviews with the media and stressed the need for tougher laws governing kidnappers and sex offenders. Investigators have theories as to why the abductor took Amber. It didn't seem like it was planned. Jim Kevill actually saw this same truck parked at the laundromat earlier that day. The theory is that this man had a psychological break. Lost a job, an intense fight with a lover, something prompted him to grab Amber when he saw her alone. But with no suspects, these theories are meaningless. To this day, Amber's murder remains unsolved, but that does not mean the case is closed. Police have indicated they have DNA from the scene and are now trying to use familial genealogy to find the killer. Possession of this DNA was never announced to the public, stating it's something only the killer would know about. They have held on to it for 26 years in hopes that it would someday help solve the case. Sergeant Grant Gilden said, quote, I remain optimistic that this case will be solved. I do believe there's definitely someone out there who has the answers that we're looking for and can help lead us in the right direction. So that's why we continue to work on it. Our goal has always remained the same, and that's to catch who did this and be able to prosecute them. Amber was just a sweet, innocent child, And that's the memory we've got to hold on to as we investigate. That this is someone who was doing something as innocent as riding a bicycle, and evil found her that day. Unquote. Oak Dairy Farms is still offering $10,000 reward to anyone who comes forward with information. A new tip line has been established, and if you happen to need that, it is 817-575-8823. And I will also list that in the show notes. While what happened to Amber Hagerman was tragic, one good thing came of it. A few weeks after Amber's body was found, a Texas woman named Diana Simone couldn't stop thinking about the poor girl. She felt for Amber's family and the nightmare they woke up to every day. She thought to herself, there are weather and civil defense alerts, so why wouldn't they do it for this? Diana Simone called the local radio station and told them of her idea for an alert system for abducted children. She said it should be called Amber's Plan. This plan was later termed Amber Alert, and it was put into effect later that same year. Diana Simone said, quote, "Without people caring and willing to participate, I don't care how good of an idea it is. It would have gone nowhere. It's the goodness in the hearts of the people who care that are making the difference," unquote. It was instated on a state-to-state basis. California adopted the Amber Alert in 2002 after the abduction and murder of 5-year-old Samantha Runyon. Samantha was playing with a friend in her front yard when a man approached in a car. He rolled his window down and struck up a conversation with the young girls, stating he was looking for his lost dog. But he suddenly opened the car door and forced Samantha inside. Her naked body was discovered in Cleveland National Forest. She had been sexually assaulted and strangled. The killer didn't care about leaving behind his DNA. It was everywhere. Alejandro Avila, a man who was previously acquitted of child molestation charges, was easily tracked down and arrested. He was later sentenced to death for his crimes. But the thought that Samantha's life may have been saved with something like an Amber Alert, California jumped on board. Today, Amber Alerts are used in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and 33 other countries. To date, they have saved at least 1,085 children in the U.S., according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Donna is proud of the Amber Alert system that was created in her daughter's name. Quote, "It's saved children's lives. It's helped bring children back to mommy and daddy. It's another legacy for my daughter that she did not die in vain. She is still taking care of our little children, like she did when she was here." That's it for Amber Hagerman, also known as Arlington's Little Angel. Thanks again to Charles Smith for the story suggestion. I meant to give this shout out last episode and totally forgot. I wanted to thank Amber, who bought me a few beers at buymeacoffee.com. This is an all-around Amber episode. Amber wrote, "Definitely the best true crime podcast I listen to." If you would like to support the show with a one-time donation, visit buymeacoffee.com/killerstories. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Killer Stories Podcast, and I'm on Twitter at Killer Story Pod. I've got a nice little list started for season 10. Thank you to those who have written in. If you would like to make a story suggestion, email me at killerstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, this has been a killer story.